Hi, guys. Mike Goldstein here of EasyDatingCoach.com. I'm so excited you're here. Today's topic is the number one reason selecting a guy can be wildly confusing. I'm going to tell you a story today that I've wanted to tell all of you for probably about 6 years, but I've been terrified to tell you this story because I honestly have been worried that I was going to lose basically half my subscribers and all of you were going to look at me like differently than how you've looked at me. And I've been really scared. But in the last month, I've realized that I just want to be wildly vulnerable and show all of you my heart and my soul and tell stories that maybe I'm a little embarrassed about, because I need all of you to get the benefit from maybe my mistakes. My mistakes. And if I'm going to experience these and I'm going to have pain and I'm going to be scared, well, someone needs to get a benefit from all this. Now, if you're going to listen to the story, I'm going to tell you it is graphic. You may squirm a little bit. Now, if you do not want to hear about sexual acts or anything graphic, turn off immediately. Do not watch this. You're not going to enjoy this. But if you're willing to go on a journey with me, then I am going to tell you a story that hopefully you enjoy. Anyway, all right. So here's the scene. I've got an entire suit on, full suit, tie. I look phenomenal. I'm going to the Waldorf Astoria for an event. My university, Elon, is trying to raise money for the school, and so they pulled out all the stops. If you don't know the Waldorf Astoria, it's one of the most iconic, famous hotels in New York City. Wildly expensive. They had an open bar there. Anyway, I meet up with one of my old college buddies, and I think we try to pretend that we're still in college, and I get pretty zonked up on some alcohol. Anyway, we part ways. He's got to go home to his wife. I need to go home. And I'm single at the time. So I get to the pass station to where I live, which is basically a train to where I live. It's a short train. Anyway, I'm waiting for the train. And I see this, what I think to be beautiful blonde woman. And she's on her headphones. So I'm very drunk. So I'm like, hold on. Is this woman actually attractive, or do I have my beer goggles on? So then I start looking at all the other guys waiting for the train, and they're all staring at her. So I'm like, oh, all right. She is actually beautiful. So I kind of wobble all drunkenly kind of over to her, and then I'm like, all right, I need to get my act together, be suave. So then I go over my shoulder to her. I say, excuse me. She takes out her headphone, and this is what was in my head. I go, would you like to get married? And she goes, sure. I was like, oh, well, okay. So we decided to get married, and we started laughing, and I said, great. Well, before we get married, I'd like to introduce you to my dad. So I walk her over to some random guy that's also waiting for the train. He was probably 50, 60 years old. And I go, excuse me, I'd like to introduce you to my bride. And we start talking, and then, Dad, we part ways. Anyway, we talk for about 5 or 10 minutes, and things are going amazing. Then, out of nowhere, the train comes. We get on the train, and I decide to take my jacket off. I'm getting a little hot, and it's on my lap. And she literally goes under my jacket, and there's probably about 50 to 100 people on this train, and starts doing this motion. I think you can figure out what that is. Under my jacket. So now my jacket is just popping up and down, and no one says a word on this train. But there's 50 or 60 people that clearly know exactly what is happening. And I'm a little embarrassed. I'm a little excited. All these things. So anyway, we then get off the train, and we go to my place, and you can imagine what happens. And now, this is 5 or 6 years later. And you're probably wondering, Mike, what the hell is this going to do in terms of advice for me? And I'm going to get there, I promise. So, what did I feel during this whole experience? I felt a ton of fun, a ton of excitement, a ton of danger, excitement, fun. And so now 6 years later, I remember this story and I remember this woman because of the emotions I felt during this story. Now, at this point in my life, I was a relationship-oriented man. I was looking for a relationship. And we're always told, like, women shouldn't have sex. But there is a caveat. Men that are relationship-oriented, it doesn't matter when you have sex with them. They always want a relationship. And with all these emotions tied to it, I was bought into this female. So over the next few weeks, I kept trying to pursue her, asking her on dates. And we went on a few, and I really, really ended up liking her. However, she was not available. I kept chasing her, but at some point, it was just very difficult to get her on dates. So it took me a long time, but eventually I just stopped pursuing her because I realized she wasn't available. But this story still sticks with me. Because what was the lesson learned here? The lesson was that all these emotions brought me to this woman. And this is what we end up doing in relationships. There's got to be... So the line is that emotions bring people together on dates, but similar values and interests keep people together forever. So with this particular woman, I never really spent the time to see if we had similar things, to see if our values aligned, but I was just using all the emotions. And so this is interesting. So what men can do, and you've probably experienced this in past dates, if a man takes you on an emotionally enjoying date, for example, if let's say you go skydiving and you're terrified of skydiving and you get through it with this man, all of a sudden you're going to feel really connected to him. And this gets you excited. And this builds butterflies. And this makes you want to be with the man. But we got to be very careful. We want to have these amazing, emotionally fun dates so we bond. But we also need to slow down and say, do we have the similar values? Do we have similar interests? Do we thoroughly get along? So my lesson learned is take a step back when you're dating and realize and to start to think about, what emotions am I feeling? So every date, am I feeling fun? Am I feeling excitement? What am I feeling? And if these feelings are good, that's good. But now, what are our compatibility? My top values are these 5 things. Are these values aligned? The things I enjoy doing, does he have a lot of the same things? So basically what it comes down to is I don't want to see chemistry trumping compatibility. When we get in these chemistry relationships where the emotions are high and when we're together things are amazing, but when we're not together we feel anxious and we're wondering when they're going to text and call, that's not healthy. And it's a roller coaster. For a life partnership, we don't want roller coasters. We want a nice, steady, happy relationship. And then we want to mix in, so we've got our similar interests, we've got our similar values, and then we go on these amazing dates where we do have the emotion that we want. We do get the excitement. We do have the fun. We do these things, but it needs to be built on that foundation of similar interests and values. So in terms of dates, if you're doing the whole emotional thing, then also take a step back to sit there and talk through things and see if the values and interests are there. So I hope that's helpful, guys. And I hope I didn't lose half of you by telling you that very raunchy story. And so do me a favor, if you're okay with my story, please have my back because I was terrified to tell you this. You may not see it in my face, but I am wildly scared to publish this. So if you're okay with it, please put that in the comments. I need your support thoroughly. And guys, if you did enjoy this, hit like. Come subscribe if you're not subscribed so you can get more videos like this. I put one out every Tuesday. And I love all of you and for suffering through this video if it was bad. I've got a gift for you. I'll put it in the description and as the top comment. It's how to text men during the day. It's another video. It's 5 minutes long. It's wildly helpful. People love it. Got thousands of views and a ton of likes and no stories. It's just information on what to do. So I've got your back. Go check it out. I love all of you. Thanks for listening to me, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.